I have not read the questions, so this is going to be kind of going off the top of my head. So if I need to research a little bit, you'll need to forgive me. But Max, let's get to the mailbag, baby. Crack open that mailbag.
All right.
What kind of questions we got from the
so
viewers?
So many damn questions.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Let's start.
First question. Mm-hmm. Do you think Happy will go to state, and who would they play?
Yes. First of all, and it's funny, I just had a conversation with one of our six-man friends, Cowboy Parks, who writes the Six Shooter on TexasFootball.com. Right. And we had that exact same conversation. If I were to pick one team to be in the 1A Division I title game right now, it would be Jonesboro.
Yeah.
Because I think that they have the easier path, because I think that the east side of Division I is a little weaker than the west side.
Fair enough.
And I think that Happy will have to go through Borden County in a semifinal. That said, I think Happy's the best team in Division I. Yeah. They're number one in our rankings. I love the way that they're just dominating people. Right. That first week win, to me, really symbolized. I think they beat who did they beat? You're listening to live coverage of me researching who Happy beat in the first round.
That's right.
Or
this
first,
is what
first
the Friday Mailbag's about. We're going to give you all the information we can.
Who did they beat in the first round? They beat Sterling City. Beat Sterling City in the first round. They beat Valley. They beat Ropes. They beat Kroll. They have beaten everyone in their path, and they've done it convincingly. I think Happy's the best team in Class 1A Division I. I think that Richland Springs is the best six-man team on earth right now, but I think that right now what Happy is doing behind Carson Bryan is really remarkable. So I like Happy. I like Happy to win the state title, to be real honest. If I were picking right now, Jonesboro would give them a really good game in a title game, but I like Happy to win a title right now. Right. What's next, Max?
What are your thoughts on Tatum this year? Boy, this is a loaded one. So this is a 6-3 squad at this point. Yeah. Tatum's a great program. I mean, that's without dispute.
So if you had asked me this last week, I would have told you this team is trending upward. I really like the cut of their jib. I think they're trending upwards in 4A Division II.
41-17 loss to Jasper did not help.
It's really surprising to me.
I picked Tatum. We both picked Tatum.
Yeah.
We thought that would kind of be the one that showed that they were kind of gearing up for the playoffs.
The problem with Tatum is that every time they run into a team with a ton of speed, they have not done well. Henderson, loss. Atlanta, loss. Jasper, loss. Every time they run into a team with a ton of speed, that's their bugaboo. Now, you start looking at the way that the brackets would break down. I should probably pull up our projections.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me pull up my bracket really quick.
TexasFootball.com/projections is where you can find it.
So Region 2. All right, here's some of the teams they would have to handle in Region 2.
First of all, don't sleep on Pleasant Grove in the first round. That's a team that's better than their record indicates, but go on.
Yeah, right now they would get Pleasant Grove in the first round. And here's some of the other teams in 4A Division 2, Region 2. Salina, Gladewater, Gilmer, Pittsburgh,
Melissa, if you believe in Melissa.
Yeah, Jasper again.
I think that this is
it's a loaded region.
I like Tatum. I will always stand for Andy Evans. I love him. He's one of my favorite coaches in the state. But I'm just not sure that they've got the horses to run this year to a title game like Tatum fans expect. So I would say, I think Pleasant Grove could give them trouble in the first round, and I think Salina is a very bad matchup for them in the area round. What's next, Max?
Any chance the Midland Bulldogs beat San Angelo Central tonight?
Any chance? Yeah, absolutely.
Midland's really good.
Midland's super good. Midland should have beaten DeSoto. There's a number of things that worry me. I think that Jackson Anaskevich is a really underrated quarterback.
Does not worry you. He's pretty good.
He doesn't worry me. The thing that worries me is that Midland has had a propensity to give up the big play. Yeah. And if you look at San Angelo Central, they are so built on the big play. That they are just airing it out, and they're getting 10, 20 yards a chunk. To me, that's the big problem for Midland. If they can keep the big plays to a minimum, I think they got a great shot in this one. I think this is the game of the week in the state. This is the best game in the state. If you're speaking of which, if I want to mention 2-6A.
Okay.
I want to talk about San Angelo Central for a second.
Okay.
There is another game in that district, 2-6A, that is the more important game in this district.
Yes.
Okay?
We were talking about this last night.
Yes. Friendship and Midland Lee. They play tonight. The winner gets the winner, barring something crazy going on in the last week. The winner gets the final seed in the playoffs. The loser's out. If Friendship wins, that would bump San Angelo Central up to the Division I bracket. And you're saying, well, why would they want to go up to the Division I bracket?
Here's the thing.
That's an easier road.
Yeah.
Because you look at Division II, you're going to run into Cedar Hill. You're going to run into DeSoto. You're going to run into a lot of these real heavyweights.
Yeah. Geyer?
You're going to run into Geyer.
Yeah.
You're going to run into Cedar Hill, Midway, Mansfield. Yeah. It is a South Lake Carroll. It is a who's who of teams in Division II. Division I, you can pencil in, to me, in my opinion, if San Angelo Central goes Division I, you can pencil in a regional semifinal between Allen and San Angelo Central.
Yep.
And I am extremely into that.
We are.
I am extremely into that.
Potential is very exciting.
I think you're right. So, I like Central to win tonight, but Midland's got more than a puncher's chance. I think they are. I think this is a game that if they play 10 times, Midland wins 4 of them. Yeah. I think they're a good team.
Yeah.
But I have questions about whether or not they can stop the big play defensively. What's next, Max?
Aledo and Northwest. How do you see this ending?
This comes down to, man, there's a lot going on in this game. There's a lot going on in this game because I don't think that Aledo's been tested.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that they've seen a player of the caliber of Prince Mavula, the quarterback for Justin Northwest. I think that Northwest has a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Now, look, we are big believers here in the Ric Flair principle.
Right.
The Ric Flair principle says to be the man,
woo!
You got to beat the man.
It's true.
And Aledo's the man. No question about it. Yeah. And they enter this game as a heavy, heavy, heavy favorite. If Prince Mavula can work his magic and they can turn, and then the Northwest defense can turn Aledo over, I'm going to say 3 times. That's the magic number.
Right.
3 turnovers for Northwest, and they're right in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. I like Aledo in this one. I think they win this game. But I do think that Northwest has a shot to knock them off and shock the world. I love what Bill Poe's done with the Texans, but I do think Aledo wins this game. What's next, Max?
All righty. Team we've talked about a lot this year. Thoughts on the Cedar Ridge Raiders?
Never heard of them. I'm kidding.
We've talked about them a lot this year. We like them a lot.
We talked with Sean Bell on DCTF Live a couple of weeks ago, and they have just kept rolling. The Cedar Ridge team, one thing to remember, the reason I think that there are people who are surprised that they're this good this quickly. You got to remember where they're pulling kids from. Yeah. They're pulling kids they're pulling kids that used to go to Round Rock Stony Point. So if you want to, and Stony Point used to be a perennial power in Central Texas.
Yeah. You had a good 3-4 year run.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Where they were
McKissick, man.
Yeah, where you would just pencil them into a regional semi or a regional final, and they were very dangerous. Yeah. So they're drawing kids from there. What I like about this Cedar Ridge team is that even though the offense gets a lot of credit, I think C.J. Rittenhouse, their running back, is really underrated. Yeah. But for all the talk about their offense, I think their defense is super underrated. Yeah. Their defense has faced some big offenses. They held Hewitt Midway to 3 points. They held Temple to 14 points. Yeah. I mean, they have really dominated. Basically, they gave up 43 points to Round Rock. And that's not a great look, but Round Rock has also been the team that's given them trouble year in and year out. But I really like the way this.
It's a rivalry game; those always play out weird.
Yeah, it's hashtag weird football. Yeah. But what I like about this Round Rock Cedar Ridge team is that they do play great defense. I think Sean Bell has his team believing, and of course they've got Garrett Sharp. I mean, their quarterback. Look, if you have a franchise quarterback, I use that term loosely, but if you have a franchise quarterback, that's going to take you far. Yeah. I like Cedar Ridge a lot. I think that this is a team that can make a really deep playoff run, and that I think people are going to look up and be like, "Oh my gosh, who's a Cedar Ridge team?" And then all of a sudden they're going to be in a regional final, and you're going to say, "Oh, who's a Cedar Ridge team?" Well, they've been really good the whole time, and I'll tell you, I think they've got a pretty favorable draw in Region 2 as well. They'll probably run into the Woodlands in a
that's the big
in a regional final.
We think the Woodlands is going to win that region.
I will tell you that I am extremely into the Woodlands versus Round Rock Cedar Ridge.
Oh yeah,
I would be very much about that.
Yeah, so that would be a great game.
All right, what's next, Max?
All right.
Do we have a lot of questions?
We have more questions. Will Cedar Park win tonight? Taking on the Hutto Hippos. Hutto obviously has the playmakers. Chase Griffin, their quarterback, is awesome.
Sure.
But it's Cedar Park. Cedar Park's defense is amazing.
I think it's possible that the Cedar Ridge.
No, it's possible.
I think no. I think it's Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
Max. I think it's possible that Cedar Ridge is underrated.
I mean Cedar Park.
Cedar Park. Did I say Cedar Ridge? Yeah. Cedar Park. You can't give me all these Cedars.
I know.
Cedar Creek.
A lot of
Bastrop Cedar Creek.
And they're like a few miles away from
Cedar Hill.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that Cedar Park is underrated. We have them at 4th in our our rankings.
Yeah.
I do think I like Cedar Park, or I like Manville and Denton Ryan ahead of them, but I think they are right on par with Aledo. And this is the kind of team that the defense is always going to show up, and the defense is what it is. Okay, the Cedar Park defense is incredible. They're always going to be incredible. I think Tyler Levine is a super underrated player in the state. The difference has been that their offense, I think, has taken a little bit of a step forward. And Max Sexton, I think, has really matured at the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
I
Give
really
him a
like
quarterback or skills at the quarterback position they haven't had before.
I think they beat Hutto. I think that they're a real threat to win 5A Division II again. Yeah. And I mean, you start looking at what their playoff draw would be, and they would draw. There are teams that could beat them. I think if Crosby puts it all together, they've got the talent to beat them. I think College Station would make for a fantastic regional final. But Cedar Park is Cedar Park. They're going to do what they do, and that's win. They're going to win a lot, and they're going to win kind of ugly. They're going to win kind of games that aren't aesthetically pleasing, but that they end up with more points than the other team.
Yeah.
That's how it rolls with Cedar Park. What's next?
This is one
By the way, Carl Absek still unbeaten as the head coach at Cedar Park.
Pretty good run.
Yeah.
Pretty good run. This question I am extremely about. Thoughts on Iraan? Can they make it to state? They're awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. If you read our summer edition, Dave Campbell's magazine, I talked to Coach Mark Kierhoff about his team. I'm pretty excited about them. I know you are too. One thing you've got to talk about with Iraan especially, and at the 2A D2 level, offensive line, defensive line play. They are exceptional. I think they spread the ball around great, but it really does start with a mentality and a philosophy in the trenches.
Of being physical.
And it's just not that easy to do at that
Exactly
level.
right.
You don't have the bodies for it. But what Coach Kierhoff's doing, we are extremely excited about their chances to get to state, but boy, they're going to have to get through some bad teams.
So they are. Bad and good, you mean?
Bad, good, yes.
Okay. So Iraan right now. So I think you're exactly right. And what I like about this team is that Mark Kierhoff, you remember, he used to be at Falls City.
And they were awesome.
And he had that same mentality. He instilled in them we're just going to be tougher than the other team.
Right.
And now it's going to take a lot to get there. They're going to have to get past Albany, who has been to the last 2 title games, and they're not just going to lay down, okay? They're going to have to get past Albany. They're going to have to get past probably Monday or Munster in a regional final. And then they'd have to get past the winner of Region 1, which, if I were to pick right now, probably Wellington. Yeah. But I think they're better than them.
Right.
Let me say this. Refugio is, in my view, the prohibitive favorite to win the 2A Division II title game.
Yeah. D2.
Or
D1, you mean.
You're
talking about Bremont.
Bremont, thank you. Bremont is the prohibitive favorite to win a 3rd straight title. They have the single best player in small school football in Rashad Paul.
Yeah.
Okay? There's that. The last 2 years against Albany has kind of tried to beat them at their own game. They've tried to spread it out and use speed and use that wide-open offense.
Fight fire with fire. Back and forth.
Fight fire with fire. Iraan is not built like that.
They're going to do things
and if you want to dream on something, and you want to dream on an Iraan-Bremont title game, that is a different animal than Bremont has been used to seeing.
Yep.
I'm not saying Iraan would win. I am saying that it would be very different, and who just assume that Bremont would beat Iraan the same way they've beaten Albany, I think is a fool's errand. So that's what I'm saying. I love Iraan.
We love Iraan. We would love to see him at AT&T.
What's next?
Will Euless Trinity miss the playoffs?
Boy, kind of looking like it, right?
Can't believe we got to this place.
So Euless Trinity, right now we still think they're making the playoffs. Okay, they've still. I think they win their next 2 games and they make the playoffs. All right, I think they're going to get in.
They should.
They should.
But they should have won at least one of the games.
They should have beaten Byron Nelson. Yeah. They should have beaten Louisville.
No.
They should have beaten Hebron.
Yeah.
No, they did beat Louisville.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what it is.
Be one of them.
Okay. Here's the problem. Let's say Euless Trinity makes it into the playoffs. Yay! Hooray! You know what their first round matchup is? At Allen.
Woo!
You taking Trinity to beat Allen?
No.
I'm not.
Not the way they've played this year. No.
Trinity is, for me, and I got asked this on the radio on Wednesday, I think Trinity has a leadership crisis in the locker room. I think that you think about the vintage Trinity teams.
Nelson, Carroll, and Hebron. Or not Hebron. Yes.
Hebron.
Nelson, Carroll, Hebron. There we go.
Trinity has the physicality. They always have the weapons, but they've also had leaders.
Yep.
And for me, that's what I think is. And I'm not in the room, but I just get the feeling that that's what's lacking.
Yeah.
That's what's lacking. So I think Trinity makes the playoffs, but I think they're first round cannon fodder for Allen. That's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, it's weird to be talking about it like this.
All right, 2 more questions.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I want to make sure we have our stuff straight.
Okay.
All right. Thoughts on the Frost Polar Bears? One of your favorites.
My boy Kobe Haley.
Yeah.
The running back, 25 rushing touchdowns. The Polar Bears, they're
in rough shape right now.
They are in rough shape.
Yeah.
But they do have that dude. And I like him a lot. Yeah. And Kobe Haley's got 25, 26 rushing touchdowns all year. Now, look, they're heading into a huge game with Meridian tonight. They need this one very, very, very badly. If they don't get it, then they're in very dire straits.
Our high school football insider, Matt Stepp, is not projecting them to make the dance.
Well,
they're 1-2 in district. I mean, that's what happens.
I mean, the problem is that they've lost the wrong games. And now they're in a tough district, right? They lost to Hubbard and they lost to Bremond, 2 good teams. Not a surprise there. But the loss to Millsap is what's really concerning. I mean, this Millsap team is fine, but they're 3-5, and this is not a team you need to be losing to.
Yeah.
I think they're in tough shape, but they've got a playmaker you can rely on. They've got a playmaker you rely on in Kobe Haley. I'm pulling for him, but we'll see.
It's tough, and like I said, we were just talking about that 2A level. It's a tough district, and it's a tough road after that. Things have not gone the way that they need to for Frost to do well, which is too bad because Frost Polar Bears is one of the greatest school and nickname combinations in the state. I think
we
both agree with that.
All right,
we don't have any more.
That's it.
We got through all of them.
Got through all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for doing this, guys.